Checking mics. Checking sound. Hi, guys. It's been a while. Let's do the show. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Blues Rants podcast. I am your host, as always, Philip Miller. It has been a while. I haven't talked to you guys in seems like forever now. Those 6 o'clock starts really killed me. Just with the work schedule and everything, it's been getting pretty busy at the office for me lately, and I like to have the show start right on top of the hour before the Blues start playing. The Blues are playing Florida tonight at 7 p.m. You can catch it on Fox Sports Midwest and ESPN 101 FM. But those 6 o'clock starts over on the East Coast really kill you if you're trying to get home from work. And work has just been way too busy for me lately, so wasn't able to do the show. I do apologize for that. I want to have something more of a consistent schedule once, basically the season ends. We'll see, what we do for playoffs and stuff like that. Maybe I do a post show. Maybe I just do a post show instead of a pregame show. Or maybe I just do both. Pull a full Alex Ferrario on 101 ESPN. I don't know. You guys let me know. Do you like the pregame show? Would you prefer a post show where we talk about the game that just happened? Or would you like me to tee up the game that's going to come? That's a fair question. I'm not sure. I thought, I don't know how many people really listen, to the pregame stuff. And usually when it's, when you have a 7 o'clock puck drop, it's perfect because usually you're wrapping up dinner, you're getting ready to watch the game, you're trying to find the channel or something like that. So I thought, hey, why not pop open Twitter and listen to the show while you're waiting for the game to start? But with that being said, there's obviously been scheduling conflicts in the past, and also, just my own personal issues as of late. But I am very happy to get back behind a microphone again and start talking some more Blues hockey with some of our lovely fans that are tuning in to us live on YouTube and on Twitter at BluesRantsCom. For anybody who's interested, you can also follow us on Facebook. Blues Rants Facebook page is doing alive and well. We'll talk about a lot of stuff today. Let's just get right into it with a 2-0 shutout over the Blackhawks. A historic night for St. Louis. I put out a tweet about this on our Twitter account, but that was, for a variety of reasons, a landmark win for the Blues. First things first, Jake Allen gets a shutout. That puts him ahead of Yaroslav Halak with 21 shutouts. He is now 4 behind Brian Elliott for number 1 in all-time Blues shutouts. Pretty impressive. Number 2, that was his 147th win. That puts him 4 wins behind the legendary Mike Liut for all-time Blues wins at 151. Item number 3, Alex Pietrangelo gets a goal on the road. That was his 10th goal on the road. He now joins 5 other Blues players. I don't have the names in front of me right now, but he joins 5 different Blues players that have scored 10 or more, or Blues defensemen, 5 Blues defensemen that have scored 10 or more goals on the road. Pretty legendary stat for the captain of this team, which is definitely going to re-sign with the Blues, maybe, probably, we don't know, salary cap. Another huge thing of note, the Blues have swept Chicago for the first time in their franchise history. 4-0. 4-0. All 4 contests were wins for the Blues. Both of Jake Allen's shutouts this season actually came at the behest of Chicago. He shut them out 4-0. Then there was, I believe, a 3-2, 4-2 win. Then there was that wildness. That was the 6-5 win a couple weeks ago, and now we have the 2-0 shutout from last night. And I really enjoyed this probably the most of all. All-female broadcast crew was play calling that game. I really enjoyed it. I think they kind of killed it. And I'll talk about the International Women's Day, and I will talk about Hockey is for Everyone, which has become quite the point of contention, specifically for St. Louis fans. I will get to that later. But getting to the game, wasn't able to watch a whole lot of it as I actually had church, ironically. But I was able to watch the highlights. The Blues were okay. They were not great in the first period. They were okay. I thought they were really good in their defensive end. They didn't allow many shots, didn't allow a lot of high danger chances. Neutral zone, again, the transition game was just so not there. And I wanted to do an episode before the Chicago game to talk about the New Jersey loss, because that was, by all accounts, pretty terrible. I mean, just through and through the entire game, I just saw no drive, no energy from the Blues in really any zone. But particularly I saw it in the neutral zone because the Devils just kept catching them with these stretch passes and these really smart exits that pretty much almost took the neutral zone play away. And then all of a sudden you've got, a partial 3-on-2 or a 3-on-3 or a 2-on-2, but the Devils have got some speed in them, allowing them, get some sort of high danger chance on net. And thankfully, Jordan Binnington really showed up to play, and I think he's really turned it around since that little slump through the month of January and February. But the Blues just were, they were just completely flat-footed. I mean, this is a pretty lowly New Jersey Devils team. They had a lot of hype around them to start the season, and then the Blues come and they lay an egg, which snapped the 8-game win streak, stopped it at 8. I was hoping for 9. That would have been a season high for them, but I don't know. For whatever reason, the streak busters are really weird teams. Arizona's one of them, and now New Jersey's the other one. Arizona actually has snapped both streaks by the Blues that lasted 7+ games. And I saw a little bit of the same thing in that first period against the Blackhawks. I saw not too much a tight neutral zone play from what I was able to watch in the highlights. But they really locked it down in the second period. How about Vince? I'll say this in order because Robert Bortuzzo is, I don't know where in the world he's going. He's never, ever, ever below the face-off dot. But lo and behold, he's literally at the red line, and he puts in that. What in the hell was that goal? I retweeted another tweet I saw that Robert Bortuzzo, I swear, he gets 2, 3, maybe 4 goals on the year. Every single one of them is a dandy. I mean, think back to the Stanley Cup final between them and Boston when he scores that backhander in the slot. He roofed that sucker bar down on one of the best goaltenders in the league, Vezina finalist. Robert Bortuzzo, the defenseman, the defensive defenseman that's pretty much our goon on the team. Yes, I know that might piss some of you Blues fans off, but it's true. He's the goon of the team. That and maybe Oscar Sundqvist, and we'll talk about Oscar Sundqvist in a second. But Robert Bortuzzo, every single goal he scores is just absolute beauty. If he were able to up it to 5 or 6 or 7, oh my gosh, everybody would want this guy. Because every single goal he scores is just a complete dandy of a goal. Absolute wild stuff by Robert Bortuzzo. I loved it. Even wilder stuff by the all 6 foot whatever of him, Vince Dunn, dropping the gloves with Drake Caggiula, and wow, weezow, he dropped him. Here's the audio.
And now Caggiula and Dunn going at it. Drake Caggiula. Got some old-time hockey here, AJ.
Vince Dunn is the smallest defenseman they have in the lineup, but he is fighting like a big guy right now.
And Dunn happy with his performance as Caggiula gets down to the ice, and the fans loving every minute of this here tonight at the United Center. Inadvertent or not, right to the face, and then Caggiula and Dunn going at it.
Well, Caggiula, you were talking about some other players that want to bring, Sealer wanting to bring sandpaper. That's exactly what Caggiula does bring to this lineup. He's gritty, he gets to the fronts of the net, he really works hard, and here we're seeing an extra gritty side of him.
Well, and saw a little bit of that this morning when we had some fun with Drake in the dressing room, right?
Didn't play.
Wow. the reaction went absolutely nuts. I wasn't able to watch it live, but I watched the replay. Vince Dunn's reaction to where he just lands some massive uppercuts. I'm talking MMA uppercuts on Drake Caggiula's jaw. Oh my goodness, what a heavyweight fight that was. For a scrawny little guy like Vince Dunn, he can sure pack it to him. Wow. That was an incredible fight to watch. Even more incredible was the reaction by Vince Dunn. I loved every second of it. Then later on in the third period, as I mentioned earlier, Alex Pietrangelo getting a goal from virtually the exact same spot that Robert Bortuzzo does. Way down by the red line. Like, not where any defenseman should be, not where any goal should probably be scored, and he just nails it past Corey Crawford. You can't explain stuff like that. It was a good play. It was a good play to start, and I'm pretty sure it was a Sammy Blais and Jaden Schwartz that were helping contribute on that. That's right. Jaden Schwartz had that killer pass. What an absolute cross seam pass for Jaden Schwartz, all the way from pretty much top of the far face-off dot all the way over to the opposite side of the red line by the trapezoid, and Alex Pietrangelo does not miss. Incredible stuff. Again, after the little hiccup, right, so I'm watching the replay here. Sammy Blais creates the initial turnover, and Jaden Schwartz, oh my goodness gracious. That's literally the Red Sea parting for Alex Pietrangelo. That's incredible. A great heads-up play by Schwartz. Amazing that he got that pass away. But I think you're finally starting to see, they didn't have a great game in New York. They had an okay game. They did not have a good game at all in New Jersey. And then just like that, they suddenly turn around. And again, the last few games that I've seen, especially the games during this 8-game win streak in particular, these have been the most consistent 60 minutes of hockey I've seen the Blues play yet this season. There was one or two outliers here and there, and as fun as they are, I don't like games where you're allowing 5 goals only to score 6 and win. For playoff intentions, I don't like those, because those are not playoff games. I don't see those as playoff atmosphere. They are fun to watch. They bring you back to some of that 80s hockey, especially with the rivalry that Chicago and St. Louis still have, no matter how good or bad Chicago is. But I like games like last night's much more. Low scoring, really, really solid defense pretty much all around for the St. Louis Blues, at least for 40 of the 60 minutes. And time after time after time after time, I've said, if the Blues play solid defensively for 40 minutes, doesn't have to be 60. If they can get it done for 40, usually it translates into a win for them. And I'm glad that we're seeing more and more consistent efforts from them now, rather than earlier in the season, and now they're starting to falter, because now everybody in St. Louis is eyeing playoffs, and we've been talking about the repeat is a definite possibility. I think Jake Allen was terrific in net. I think Jordan Binnington has gotten a lot better. I'm pretty sure his goals saved above expectation is not quite back to par. I guess I'm not really sure how you define par for the course, because the Blues have still been allowing so few shots in recent games. But all the same, as a tandem, I feel pretty good about our chances. Now you're going to ride Jordan Binnington literally 16 games or whatever, 15 of the 16 games maybe. But all the same, if he were to get pulled for some reason, I like Jake Allen too. He's been fantastic. He's basically been quieting all the naysayers. I mean, how many of the last few years have we gone where everybody has just been counting Jake Allen out? And they wanted him gone, they've wanted him traded, they've wanted him waived. They thought, moving Carter or letting Carter Hutton walk instead of him was a huge mistake, and he's completely turned the tables. He's turned into an absolute beast on the road. Literally does not allow one goal against Chicago in the 2 games that he played. He's been a beast, man. And now he's officially got even more numbers to prove it. He's second in shutouts. He's second in wins. I tend to believe he will take wins, not this season, but maybe next season. And I don't know, if he has a really, really solid year, he could post 4 shutouts and tie with Moose. It's entirely possible. So I give so much credit to Jake Allen for a lot of the unnecessary hate. I've never been a hater of him. I've always loved the guy, even if it's just because I got a picture of him 5 years ago when he first got hot in the league. But all the same, he's really turned around his game after being a bit sluggish to the start of the 2018-19 season and started to falter at the end of that 2018 season. So with all that being said, that was the game against Chicago. I really admired their PK as well. I believe the Chicago PK went 0 for 3, 0 for 4, after previously going 3 for 4 in that 6-5 contest. Because see, that's always the negative of that, right? Like, okay, yeah, these games are fun. You also allowed 3 goals on the power play. It's like the same thing with San Jose and Vegas. Well, a major penalty, well then just don't allow 4 goals. Yeah, there's still an argument to be had there. So, looking into tonight's makeup game, if you will, against the Florida Panthers, let's get right into it. I'm going to run this nice little news segment here in the background. Okay, big takeaways against Florida Panthers tonight. Florida is desperate. They are panicking. More than half this country is panicking about the coronavirus. They are currently 3 points out of a playoff spot. It could be the wild card, or it could be third in the Atlantic. Take your pick. They've not played very, very good hockey at all, essentially since the All-Star break. They've been absolutely, to be honest with you, they've been atrocious. They were one of the top scoring teams in the league. I believe their goal differential since that has dropped to almost a -16, something like that. They are 6-10-3 since the All-Star break. In 19 games, they're 6-10-3. That's a pretty dismal amount of numbers. Their Corsi has dipped below 50%, even though, they have so many guys and names on there that are really, really good at center. Obviously, at the trade deadline, everybody saw they gave up Vinny Trocheck. I didn't like the move, and I don't think Florida is going to like the move either. They need defense. They need defense. They have, I believe, the worst, second or third worst defense in the league. They're 29th in goals against. Right now, they only sit at a goal differential of +2 on the season after having one of the hottest offenses in the first half of the year. So they are in a complete desperate race. They are looking to get any sort of offense going. Sergei Bobrovsky has clearly turned himself into the flop of the year. He's not even... I will take PK Subban out of it. I will definitely take Jack Hughes out of it. I think Jack Hughes has still got a lot of time to learn. I will take any major acquisition you want to call it. Sergei Bobrovsky has become the flop of the year, and now he even got injured back on March 3rd. So he's not going to play tonight. The only guys really keeping him alive is this Chris Driedger guy. Driedger? I don't know how you say his name, and Sam Montembeault, who have actually put up pretty good numbers. Chris Dreger has put up a 936 save percentage in his last 10 starts. In his only 10 starts, actually. I cannot believe that's actually a thing. So Chris Dreger has been really impressive, and if I'm Florida, seriously, hot take, you're paying this guy $10 million, I think you got to find a way to move on from Bobrovsky. I think you go with Dreger and Montembeault, and you say it was fun, but thanks but no thanks to Bobrovsky. I mean, Bobrovsky is still 23, 19, and 6, but he's got a 900 save percentage. Montembeault's not better. He's 890. But if you're going to pay a goaltender $10 million, I want numbers like Chris Dreger has at 936 and 2.16 goals against. That's ridiculous. And it's unfortunate. I mean, from a Vezina winner to absolute just a complete failure of a season for Sergei Bobrovsky on a team that has been so hungry to get back into the playoffs ever since, when was the last time that the Florida Panthers were in the playoffs? 2014, 2015? So they're definitely going to be hungry for something tonight. Again, it all comes along to stalwarting their offense and really punishing them in the defensive side. They do not have a really solid defensive core. They've got Keith Yandel and Aaron Ekblad up at front. But other than that, I mean, you have Mark Pysyk and Anton Stroman, Mackenzie Weegar. I kind of like Mackenzie Weegar. But their ceiling is very, very low in terms of defense for the Florida Panthers. And now that their offense is faltering, I think this is the perfect chance for the Blues to just pounce on them, no pun intended, and just completely shut the door on anything that they might have going for them. Like I said, they've only got 6 wins in their last 19, 20 games. They did get a good win against Montreal, 4-1 on Robert Luongo's retirement. Congratulations to Bobby Lou, by the way, for getting the number 1 put in the rafters. It's Florida's first ever jersey retirement. So congratulations to them and to the organization and to Bobby Lou. So that, in all honesty, that might be the one and only thing that really gets them motivated enough to actually make this push into the playoffs. I mean, it seems like a jump ball between Toronto and Florida for that final spot in the Atlantic, and neither of them want to grab the ball, genuinely. So, again, they're only 3 points out from the Maple Leafs. They are 3 points out from the... Columbus actually got a win, so they're now 5 points out for that final wildcard spot. It's gonna be cutthroat all the way to the very end. Again, assuming Jordan Binnington is going to be in net tonight, he'll need another strong performance against, in my opinion, the most desperate team in the league right now. I know there's a whole treasure trove of teams. It seems like almost half the league is fighting to get into a playoff spot right now. Chicago once was part of that conversation until they stunningly lost to Detroit, and then they lost to the Blues last night. As far as that goes, I mean, look at the wild card situation. You have the Wild. You have the Minnesota Wild that are holding the top wild card spot with 77. Then you have Predators, Jets, Canucks, all with 76. Then you have the Coyotes with 74. That is 3 points amongst 4 teams for the top 2 wildcard spots in the Western Conference. The parity, this is... I haven't been watching hockey for very long, but this is almost unprecedented. Like, this is ridiculous how close it is, even though most of us are already to the 14, 15, 16 game mark. It's insane. And it's the exact same thing over in the Eastern Conference, too. Right now, you have the Rangers with 76, the Islanders and Hurricanes and Blue Jackets. Blue Jackets have 81, Hurricanes have 79, Islanders have 79, and the Panthers with 76. So there's another. There's 3 points, 5 points right there for the top 2 wildcard spots. It's incredible. I mean, it's gonna. I still feel, even for the Blues, it's gonna be a tight knit race all the way to the very finish line, because you have a lot of Eastern Conference opponents left on the Blues schedule. I want to say they have 8 or 9 out of their next 13. But you head back over to play Anaheim to make up that game that was postponed because of Jay Bouwmeester's cardiac episode. I guess I'll still call it that. You host the Sharks. You host the Senators. Then you go over to the East Coast to play Philly, Carolina, Florida again, and Washington. That is going to be the road trip of the season. I know the dad's trip was supposed to be a big one, and that unfortunately got cut a little short. But you have the Philadelphia Flyers, who are 9-1-0, by the way. What the hell is going on in Philadelphia? They are playing some out-of-their-mind hockey. And I wouldn't mind seeing Brian Elliott or Carter Hart get back into the playoff picture. But there is a scary team in Philadelphia all of a sudden. But then you've got the Hurricanes, again, hungry, desperate team. You got the Florida Panthers, hungry, desperate team. Then you have the Washington Capitals, literally one of the top 4 teams in the league, alongside of the Blues. Then you have LA, then you have Minnesota, and then you have Detroit. Okay, 2 or 3 of those should be a win. The Wild Blues game might prove interesting, because the Wild are still trying to push for the playoffs as well. Then you have the Bruins and the Avalanche. Not only a potential Cup final rematch, but Blues Avs, that would be an explosive playoff round. I'm not necessarily saying first round. It might come in the second round or something like that, because I think whoever makes it, I think it's still Blues and Avs favored to go far. But the Avalanche are right there, 90 points behind your 92, game in hand. They literally play game number 82 of the season. So you jump back 2 years ago when it was win or go home in that crazy scenario, when it was win or go home for the Blues or the Avalanche. Now you're either taking a wild card in Winnipeg or Minnesota or Nashville or Vancouver or Arizona, because there's so many, or you're facing Dallas. Now, Sean Tierney said that Colorado and Dallas is a lock. I don't think I agree with that. I can't agree with that. There's still too much going on here for me to make any sort of judgment call. I think the Blues and the Avs, again, they're going to be neck and neck for the whole way through. The Blues have held first place in the Western Conference. I think they said it today, something like 120 days now. They've been the top in the Central Division for that long, and I think the next team up is Edmonton with 20 days. So they've been holding it for a long time. And that really nasty slump back in January and February hurt them pretty bad. But they've still got first. They basically worked their tails off in the first half, and that's what's kept them alive in it. But Blues Avalanche, I get this sinking feeling. We're going all the way to April. We're going all the way to April with this, and possibly further. And as far as playoffs goes, would I rather face the Avalanche or would I face the Stars? You know, last season when the Blues played against the Stars in the second round, I went, oh no, that's it. I didn't see them having a chance just based on their regular season play. And even after they came back and went on that miracle run, they still didn't look good against Dallas. And to my own credit, it literally took double overtime of Game 7 to figure out who came out on top. This year, however, Ben Bishop and Anton Khudobin are arguably the best goaltending tandem. You could make an argument for Ras Kalak over in Boston. But the Stars are still getting incredible goaltending. They can't buy a goal. They have a goal differential +5 right now. They've really tanked in, this final quarter of the season. They've lost 5 in a row. They're 3-4-3 in their last 10 as I look at this right now. Not good numbers if you want to get into the postseason strong. I mean, the Wild are now 5 points out of third place. Who'd have thought that, right? After you fire Boudreau after, being about 2 years too late, and you trade away Jason Zucker, and you almost trade Zach Parise, and you don't trade Matt Dumba or Jonas Brodin. Who'd have thought that the Wild are where they are now? Who'd have thought the Jets are where they are right now? 1 point out of a wild card spot, and Connor Hellebuyck has literally put the entire team on his back trying to carry them into the postseason. It's an incredible stretch. I don't consider anybody a surefire lock really anywhere. The Flyers and the Capitals are tied for first in the Metro. The Flyers. How long were they out of the playoff picture for? Pittsburgh was the absolute best team from December to January, and now they're 2-8-0. They have fallen like a rock. The Boston Bruins, they have a 6-point lead on Tampa Bay, but I think the Lightning could catch them, man. Their goal differentials are both +51. Now, the Lightning have not been great in their last 10, but still, I don't want to count Tampa Bay out yet. I don't want to count Tampa Bay out until I see them in the first round, because we all know where that story is going to go. And I don't know whether to issue you your dying rights to whoever plays them in the first round, or say, hey, look at Columbus. You still got a shot. This is practically the same roster. They only got Patrick Maroon and Kevin Shattenkirk for pocket change, but you still got a shot. It's the Lightning. So, again, I'm not ready to call anybody a lock for any position yet. And we're literally down to the 13-game, 12-game stretch for most teams. It's incredible. And as much as I'd like to say, the Blues can coast, you really can't. You got Florida twice, Carolina, Washington, Boston, Colorado, and Minnesota. Every single one of those are playoff teams right now. The only locks you really have are this upcoming little trip, which is to Anaheim, San Jose. You host San Jose, and then you host Ottawa. That's basically it. And then you host the Red Wings and the Kings at one point. And most of that's Eastern Conference, too. I know, they obviously do their scouting reports and stuff like that, but that's still a challenge. You don't see Eastern Conference teams, obviously, a whole lot. I don't think you've seen... when was the last time we played Detroit? When did we play Detroit? Earlier in December? Maybe even November? It's been a while. It's been absolutely nuts watching so many, even the bad teams, like the New Jerseys. The New Jersey Devils and the Ottawa Senators are probably the two hardest working teams. Ottawa I put up there for sure. Like, Ottawa's actually, to my surprise, doing their rebuild right. They're really giving a whole bunch of ice time to their youth players who are just giving it all every single night in and night out. It's actually not the worst thing to watch Ottawa play. They're probably not going to win, but they're going to die trying. And even a team like New York. How about Mika Zibanejad, by the way? Scoring five goals? What is this, the 80s? I don't look up how many 5-goal games have been scored upon by players. It's not a lot. Like, Wayne Gretzky did it a couple times. Mario Lemieux did it a couple times. But my, oh my, 5 goals. And we thought the Zach Sanford guy was pretty cool. By the way, for anybody that's still listening, maybe not, maybe you've tuned me out already. Zach Sanford, 4-goal game. I tweeted about that 2 games ago. I also asked who didn't score 4 goals. And I put the options, I believe, were Turnbull, Federico, Hawley, and David Backes. I got real concerned when a lot of y'all put Brett Hull. Really? Guys? Brett Hull? As in, like, the 5th leading goal scorer of all time? You think Brett Hull didn't have a 4-goal game? He had 2, by the way. David Backes had 2. Pierre Turnbull had 1, so the answer was Bernie Federico. Bernie Federico had a few good hat tricks, but never a 4-goal game, if anybody was interested in the answer to that trivia question. Oskar Sundqvist gets fined $5,000 for roughing Adam Boqvist. Adam Boqvist is currently under concussion protocol. Save that 5 times fast. And Oskar Sundqvist doesn't get a game for it. He gets $5,000, the maximum allowed under the NHL player safety rules. Again, I mentioned that Oskar Sundqvist can be kind of a goon. I have also mentioned that NHL player safety is a complete joke. Now, I can't... I want to take Oskar Sundqvist's side. I tried watching the hit a few more times. I don't know if I can really do that. Yes, he is trying to play for a puck that's literally now all of a sudden in between his tiptoes, and he's got Adam Boqvist literally trying to get into his ribcage, and one thing leads to another, and Oskar Sundqvist is a pretty tall guy, and he absolutely levels Boqvist with an elbow, intentional or no. I think that's basically what said it there, was the intention, but... I mean, Coach Jeremy Colleton called it an unnecessary hit. Again, the necessity, no, it was not a necessary hit, but I still don't think it was intention by Oskar Sundqvist. I think that's what they found. So I agree with this ruling, I guess. I still think he should get a game or 2, but I know the NHL player safety's never going to get it right, so... I guess that's what I expected. It's not what I wanted. It's not what is right, but it's what I expected. So he should still be in tonight's lineup against the Florida Panthers, which are on in a little over 20 minutes on Fox Sports Midwest and ESPN 101. International Women's Day. First of all, by the way, I thought the ladies killed it. I thought they were fantastic throughout the entire game. And not only that, for once, like mark this down in St. Louis Blues history. This is the first damn time I've seen every single color commentator get Alex Petrangelo's freaking name right. They all got it right. They didn't say Peter Angelo. We're looking at you, Pierre. They didn't say Petrangelo. They said Petrangelo. They actually got it right. I loved that. And again, I thought, I thought Kendall Coyne, her commentary during the Cup playoffs was, I think they just kind of threw her in there at the last moment, just considering, getting the Olympic gold and, her sudden popularity and her incredible performance at that All-Star game. I thought they kind of shoehorned her in there, and she wasn't really prepared for that, so she didn't really have the best play calling. That and, they didn't really throw it to her that much. But I thought between her and between the other 2 ladies, I thought they were terrific, to be honest with you. I thought they were thoroughly entertaining to listen to, and it was just something new. It was just something new. Again, I don't And I talk also as well about the hockey is for everyone night or promotion or whatever that the Blues just completely screwed up. They absolutely ruined that. It was pretty sad to see. For a team that usually is pretty good with PR and things like that, they completely botched this. I wasn't happy to see that. I liked seeing the ladies call that game, although the Blues didn't have anything to do with that. That was basically NHL, and that was NBCSN. But truly, I mean, it was just disappointing. And I mean, call it what you want. Call hockey is for everyone. Wow, I almost got caught in a bad tongue twist there. Call hockey is for everyone what you want. Call International Women's Day what you want. Support it, don't, whatever. If you're a professional organization like that and you're going to jump all in, just like the NHL has, just like other organizations have, at some point you've got to handle things better than that. And again, the Blues, for the most part, have handled a lot of PR situations like that fairly well. This one was definitely not. This is a bad strikeout, and a noticeable strikeout just because of the way the culture has changed in recent years. Not even recent years, recent decades. The last few decades has been such a drastic difference. And whether you're in support of it or not, that's just the way the world is now. It's just adapt or die. Literally. That's just how the culture goes. I won't get any much farther into it. I won't try to get political on this show or anything like that. I just thought the hockey is for everyone. Could have been handled way better by St. Louis. I know nobody's really talked about that a whole lot, so I'm going to talk about it. Other notable things, Henri Richard. I did tweet about this during the New Jersey game. I should have tweeted about it sooner. I apologize. But Henri Richard passes away, I believe, at the age of 84. He was the leading all-time games played for the Montreal Canadiens. He won 11, I repeat, 11 Stanley Cups with the Habs. All with the Habs. Can you even picture that? I know, yeah, we just got our one, and that's great and all. And probably most of the listeners in here weren't around to watch Henri Richard win those 11 cups during the late 60s and early 70s. But that, regardless of what his role was, that's a pretty incredible stat for the Pocket Rocket. I don't think we're ever going to see that again. Genuinely, I don't think we're ever going to see anybody, win 11 Stanley Cups with one franchise. Wayne Gretzky didn't do it. Mario Lemieux didn't do it. Jaromir Jagr didn't do it. So it was obviously a tough day for Montreal Canadiens fans. Pocket Rocket was, he was an absolute, not just a Habs legend, but a hockey legend. He definitely had to live up to his brother Maurice Rocket Richard, who, as we all know, literally has a trophy named after him. And in all honesty, you can look at, the goals or the points that he may or may not have. He still had over 1,000 points in the NHL, but I think 11 Stanley Cups says more than enough for a guy that I think I was reading. I think he is 5'7". That's a short hockey player. But hey, you're allowed to be short when you win 11. Pretty incredible stuff. Rest in peace to Henri Richard, and of course, from everybody at Blues Rants, our condolences go out to the Richard family as well as the Canadiens de Montreal. That should probably do it for this episode. I'm glad to finally be back in front of a microphone. I hope you all actually enjoy this show. Seriously, if you guys would prefer post-game analysis of the show or an after show after a Blues game, or if you still like hearing a podcast beforehand, or if you just like it on a random weekend on a Saturday. We could all get together and hang out. Could be a lot of fun. Let us know in the comments, tweet at us, message us on Facebook. I'm always checking it constantly. I love hearing your guys' feedback, but that's going to do it for me. Thank you very much all for listening to the Blues Rants podcast. My name has been Philip Miller. You can check us out on Twitter. You can check us out on Facebook. You can check us out on YouTube. You can check us out on Instagram. Yes, we still have an Instagram. Thank you all very much for listening. Let's go Blues. Blues Panthers, 7 p.m. Fox Sports Midwest and ESPN 101. Thank you guys for listening.